welcome to you all. I mean, I want everyone to feel really welcomed in this class, in this time together, in this community. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever your race or ethnicity or sexual orientation or gender identity or any other characteristic or identity, that you're fully welcome here. And in this, particularly, I think important to say that in the time that we're in right now, and just say that we, a number of us have just come off of, or just coming off of a weekend retreat, about 30 of folks together online doing a retreat. And so this is a kind of an ending to that retreat, and it's our regular class. So many of our regular folks were at the retreat, and others who are not regulars at this class are here today. So welcome to you, and welcome to everyone. And it's always a joy to be together in this way at a time when we obviously can't be physically together. And we certainly have the aspiration, when we do get back together again in person, to continue the online, this component of it, so that people who aren't able to come to Tenley Town, maybe from more distant places or mobility issues or whatever, can still be part of this community. And so really feeling a sense of joy and connection with you, but also just want to name for myself, and I'm sure it's the same for many of us here, that my heart feels really heavy, connecting with, particularly this week with the killing in Minneapolis of George Floyd at the hands of a white police officer, an African-American man, and those of us who've seen that video and over again, just the pain, not just of the immediate situation, the horror of that, but really how it plays into and fits into 400 years of painful history. And I feel, as a white person, the heaviness, the pain, the anguish, the sadness, and know how intense that is, particularly the feelings in the African American community, and those who have a history of oppression and disenfranchisement, and want to really just to name that. And we're seeing every night since the pain and the anguish being acted out in peaceful protests, but also in destruction and of property and further deaths, and just holding all of that can be it's a lot to hold. And just recognizing too, again, as a white person, the responsibility of white people to play our role in the dismantling of this system that has been in existence for 400 years and continues today. I mean, this wasn't an individual act, and we saw a well-known situation in the Rambles in Central Park, New York, and just the pain of the continued pain of racism as a scar, as a wound on the society that has to be healed, and how important it is that we have caring and compassionate leadership. And without going into anything more specific than that we can do everything in our power between now and November to make sure that we elect caring and compassionate leaders to help move us out of this time of particular time of pain and hurt. And to name as well that this is all happening within the time of the pandemic we're living in, the 100,000 plus now 2,000 more just in the last recent days. Over 100,000 died from COVID-19. And all of the suffering, I think 41 to 42 million who are unemployed, and actually more than that, those who applied for unemployment benefits. And I know there's some sensitivity about naming these things and on in the meditation class, but it's my real strong feeling that this practice is not, is not separate from our lives, and has to be part of. We have to bring this practice into the world, into helping healing the suffering of the world. And obviously that needs to be done in wise ways, in skillful ways, not being used as kind of to, make people feel unwanted or unwelcome, but to really name the truths that need to be named. And I think that's kind of what I want to begin with today, and just to take a moment to hold, in whatever way it touches you, or in whatever you're holding in these times, to just give a moment to feel what you're feeling. It doesn't mean you have to agree with anything I've said, but just to feel what you're feeling in this moment, and hold it with kindness, with compassion. And before we get into our formal period of meditation, we'll do an initial meditation in a minute. I'll just share a few reflections, really coming out of what I've just shared, but in a broader way, that these teachings and these practices that we share together when we come together in a class like this, or on a retreat, or when we practice on our own, maybe in our own homes. The core of the practice of mindfulness and compassion and equanimity is to meet the truth of our experience, to say yes to what is, to not resist what we're feeling, to accept that what we're feeling is what we're feeling. So if it's heaviness, if it's sadness, if it's grief, if it's joy, to allow ourselves to experience that, to feel it. We were talking before we began the class today with the saying from the Jesuit teacher and priest and philosopher Anthony de Mello, that freedom or enlightenment is absolute cooperation with the inevitable. Absolute cooperation with the inevitable. It's to be in a relationship of non-resistance to what is. Inevitable doesn't mean, we're saying, not doesn't mean in a kind of a predetermined way, but unavoidable. What is here right now is unavoidable. What's here in the country right now and in the world right now is unavoidable. And much of the suffering of our world, I believe, actually comes from people, ourselves. I'm not talking as in an us or them way, but of human beings not being willing or able to open to our own pain and our own suffering. Because when we're not able, or perhaps willing or able, to feel what we're feeling, then what we tend to do is we act it out in the world. We go straight from the stimulus, and rather than allowing ourselves to feel the pain of what's going on around us right now in our country, in our world, in our lives, instead of feeling that, we go straight to blame, judgment, anger, all the ways in which we bypass what we're actually experiencing. And I strongly believe that much of the suffering, much of the hatred, much of the violence in our world comes from the inability or unwillingness of individuals, and sometimes it's whole groups, to actually feel their own pain. There's a quote that I've shared before from the great African-American, great writer, activist, James Baldwin, great struggler warrior for freedom. He said, I'm paraphrasing him a little, but he said, the reason I believe that people cling so tightly to their hates is because on some level they recognize that if they let go of their hate, they'll have to feel their own pain. They'll have to feel their pain. That hatred and blame and judgment is a way of really avoiding feeling our own pain, really bypassing it. And so, sometimes these practices can be used as well at times for bypassing, where we say, oh yes, let's just be peaceful. Let's just, let the world be the world, and let's just be peaceful and calm, and everything will be all right. But if we're ignoring what's happening in the world, perhaps even ignoring our own suffering and covering it over with a patina of kind of calm and peace, then we're not really being honest with ourselves and with our lives. That this practice really asks us, calls on us to open to the truth of what we're experiencing. Another great French philosopher and writer, Nobel Prize winner, Albert Camus, said, we all carry within us our crimes, our ravages, our places of exile. Our task is not to unleash them on the world, but to transform them in ourselves and in others. And if we don't transform our pains, our hurt, our grief, then we will find ways, either of covering it over, repressing it, and it'll come out in other ways, or we act it out in the world. We act it out in blame towards them, those, what Tara Brach calls the unreal other. We say, you're the cause of this pain I'm feeling. And rather than feeling the pain, I act that out on you. I turn it on you, on the other, in blame or hatred or violence. And that's how this cycle continues. And the ending of the cycle, and this is the core of the Buddha's teachings, the ending of the cycle really is to genuinely, wholeheartedly, honestly, to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling. Taking refuge, this is really what the Buddha talked about as taking refuge in the Dharma. It's taking refuge in the truth. It's saying, I'm not going to bypass this. I'm not going to avoid it. I'm not going to project outward and, in blame or judgment or in craving something or in habits of avoidance, of avoiding what I'm feeling. But I'm going to allow myself to feel what's here, to say yes to what is. So the invitation, particularly at this time, this very difficult, very painful time that we're living in and living through, is the invitation is to just open to what's present and hold it with kindness, with care, with compassion, without judgment. And that's what we'll be doing in this next. We'll begin with a 15-minute meditation. We'll come out of that meditation and we'll have some time for group sharing. I think in this time, it would be very helpful for us to just have a chance to share with 2 or 3 other people, just what's in your own heart, or what you're experiencing, how you're working with whatever you're experiencing. And then we'll come back, maybe a little sharing together. Emily will lead us in some mindful movement, bringing us into our bodies, which is where we have to come back and where we live. And then we'll come into and together for a final meditation. So holding all of that and all that you're experiencing yourself coming out of these days and out of these weeks and this time that we're living in, allow yourself to come into a posture that's comfortable and relaxed. It's important that we take the time to allow ourselves to relax and settle. This isn't a practice of gritting our teeth and tensing our muscles and saying, I'm going to sit through whatever's here. It serves us to be at ease, to cultivate ease. The Buddha taught that the more we come into a space of ease and comfort and well-being, the more then we're able to deal with the joys and the sorrows of life, the challenges and the difficulties. So take some moments to sit in a way or lie down if you're in a place where you can lie down and prefer that. Whatever's comfortable, take some moments to arrive, settle. Invite the shoulders to relax. Let the hands rest comfortably in the lap or on the knees or thighs or at your sides if you're lying down. And if you'd like to, you can close your eyes, let your attention come inward. If you prefer, you can keep them open, but best to have a soft, unfocused gaze, not looking around, just relaxing the eyes, whether they're open or closed. And you might consciously drop down out of the thinking mode into feeling the body, feeling the contact with the surface beneath you, feeling the weight of your body pressing down on your buttocks, on your thighs, feet in contact with the floor. The sensations of the hands. See if you can feel the sensations of the body from the inside. Maybe there's tingling or pulsing, warmth, coolness. Whatever's here, just allowing yourself to feel it. Notice how your breathing is right now. Breathing in and breathing out. And if it's helpful, you could just let the breath deepen. Take a few longer, deeper breaths as a way of inviting perhaps a deeper settling, relaxing. Nice deep in-breath, full long out-breath. Maybe the out-breath a little longer than the in-breath. And inviting a calming of the body and the mind as you breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in, calming the body. Breathing out, calming the mind. So letting yourself settle into being here. And in your own time, letting the breath come back to its natural rhythm. Just finding your way back to a breath just as it is right now. And as another way of relaxing a little bit more, you might invite a smile to your face or a half smile. just enough to activate the muscles at the corners of your eyes and the corners of your mouth. Just letting yourself relax into a smile. If it's helpful, think of somebody who easily makes you feel happy or joyful. So letting their image come in if that's helpful, and relaxing into a smile. Or thinking about a time that you were joyful or happy or peaceful. Just letting the body and the mind settle. Letting the smile come down into the body. You might let the smile be an expression of whatever's coming up for you in the body and the heart and the mind. Just as you're sitting, just invite a receptive awareness of whatever you're experiencing right now. Notice what's present in the body. Is there some tension in the chest or the belly, the facial muscles that you could relax a little bit more? Notice your mood right now, your emotions, your mind state. Is there heaviness or is there lightness? Is there a sense of stress or relaxation or ease? Just notice without judgment, without pushing away or pulling towards you. Just recognize what's present. See if you can make space for whatever is here right now. You might let the breath help you make space if there's something that's hard, something painful or difficult. Just breathing into it, holding it with as much kindness as you can. Notice how your mind is right now, how you're, is it busy, active? Are there lots of thoughts? Or is it more calm, more peaceful? And again, just be aware of that. Take it as information, not as good or bad, right or wrong. See if you can meet whatever's present for you right now with a compassionate curiosity, a kind attention, a kind interest in what's here. And if it's difficult or painful, imagine putting your arms around that painful experience. You might even, if it's helpful, put your hand on your heart. Just holding the difficulty, holding the pain with kindness, can also be helpful to feel yourself part of this group, this community of people committed to waking up, to living more wisely and more compassionately. All of us who are here care about living more wisely and kindly, and healing our world and our country. Feeling yourself part of this community and this larger community too. Meeting whatever is here with a kind and caring attention. And if it helps you to be here, it helps to ground you. You might let your attention just rest easily on your breathing, letting your breath be an anchor, kind of grounding you here now. In breath and out breath. Breathing in, knowing that you're breathing in. Breathing out, knowing that you're breathing out. And staying with the breath, or with another object if it's more helpful, can be a way of really settling the mind, really helping us come into a place of groundedness and stillness so that the mind may still wander, may go off, but it's more tethered in a way, more like an animal on an ox or a cow, and something on animal, a donkey tied to a post. It can wander a certain distance, but it doesn't go too far off. It doesn't keep just wandering and getting lost. So the breath, or sounds around us, or bodily feelings, grounding our attention just in our present moment experience can really help us to settle, help the mind to settle and just be here now. Calming the body, calming the mind. finish meditation, this opening meditation with this poem from Thich Nhat Hanh, the renowned Vietnamese Zen teacher and activist, poet, author, beloved teacher. Please call me by my true names. Do not say that I'll depart tomorrow. Even today I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second I am arriving, to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that are alive. I am a mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird which, when spring comes, arrives in time to eat the mayfly. I'm a frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks, and I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills up the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. So taking your time coming back into the group. Just before we go into some sharing, some small group sharing, I just want to say that I come back to Thich Nhat Hanh's poem as a reminder to myself and to us that there really is no us and them, even though it's very easy for us to get caught up in the divisions, particularly in this time we're living in, that ultimately all of us have within ourselves the capacity, the seeds within us that we could do great harm. We could create harm in the world and to ourselves. And we also have the seeds of doing great good, being of great service and healing to our world. And it really, what makes a difference is where do we put our attention? What seeds are we choosing to cultivate? Where are we choosing to put our energy and our heart and our attention? And this is really what this practice is about, is choosing to cultivate beautiful states of heart and mind, like compassion and joy and loving kindness and generosity and gratitude, and not cultivating hatred and division and blame and judgment and all of the things, and racism and hurt, all the ways in which we separate ourselves off and create harm for ourselves and others. So to remember that it's not us and them, that we all have the capacity, and just what seeds have we have we nourished? Have we nurtured? And which seeds are we choosing to nourish, to nurture? So with that reflection, I want to invite you to, we'll break into the groups and just share some of what you're experiencing, maybe what came up for you in the meditation or what's coming up for you in these days, in these times, what you're working with and how you're working with it, with whatever's arising. And let this be a time of sharing from the heart and listening mindfully. So having each person talk in turn, not so much a back and forth, a conversation, but maybe taking 3 minutes each to hear from each person. Might be a minute or so at the end for just sharing together. And then we'll come back together, maybe if there's time for a little more group sharing. So Nick, would you mind putting people into groups? Thank you. And if you're not yet in the group, you'll see a choice to go into the group. And if you do choose not to join a group today, I invite you just to use it as a time of maybe you can just shut off your camera, the video, and just take a few minutes to practice on your own. And if you're having any troubles, obviously let us know, particularly let Nick know, who's guiding us in the process. How long more, Nick?
We have 2 minutes left.
Okay, great, thanks.
It's automatically kicking them out in 2 minutes.
All right, and how many? We must have been like 30 groups or something.
Yeah, they're like 31 groups.
Okay, great.
It's a beauty. You don't have to do math. You just up it and it puts them into rooms.
Right, right.
So just gave them a 2-minute warning. So they'll start showing up soon.
Very good.
Here they come.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Now they gave them a minute warning.
Yeah. It's kind of magic.
Yeah, they just start showing up.
Where did everyone come from? So welcome back. I think we're still getting folks coming back. Oh, Nick.
It's closing in 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
There they go.
Okay. There we go. Now they have no choice, but
Yeah.
so welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. We missed you. Hope that that was helpful for you. One of the things I think is a nice feature that we have is if you would like to share anything about that experience of whether pleasant or less pleasant, but something you gained from it or something that was difficult for you, please feel free to write something in the chat room, and then because we can collate and we can gather that at the end. So if there's anything you'd like to share, you can put it in there. And also, let's take a couple of folks who want to share in the, certainly one at least, to share in the full group. Time-wise, we can't do much more than that. So, Linnea, if you want to unmute yourself, I can't see where.
Yeah, I'm here. I'll do it quickly.
Yeah.
I wanted to share that I feel so good being here. I feel like I've come home because there's so much hatred and anger, so many emotions going out. And I know here there are people who are working towards opening their hearts. They are somewhere on that path. They're very committed to that. And it feels wonderful to be with them because it encourages that, I think, out in the world, encourages it with me. So thank you all for being here and for being my home.
Thank you. It's great to have you from the other Washington, from Washington State. Great to have you with us. Anyone else? Maybe we can take one more, and we can have folks write something in the chat box if you'd like to do that. Let me see. Is there anyone have their hands up before we go to the movement? And okay. So I'm not seeing anyone now, and so Emily, if you would like to lead us in a period of movement, that would be wonderful. Trying to see, and Nick, you can spotlight Emily. There we go. That's great.
So if everyone would like to join me in standing and take a moment to feel your feet and just sway from side to side, noticing the grounding, noticing how the energy can rise up from your feet, pressing down your feet to lift up, lifting up your arms, reaching up and gather the energy of the sky and the clouds and the sunshine, and bring that energy to your heart. And gather the energy of the room, all of the people here together, united in finding peace and compassion and love within our hearts, and bring that to your heart. And gather the energy of the earth, that which is so abundant, providing us so many essentials, and bring that energy to your heart. We'll be doing, if you come in, bring your hands into cactus arms. We're going to be twisting to our right. Notice your right hand. And taking a deep breath in, exhale to the right, and center to the right, and center to the right, and center. Now take another deep inhale and exhale to the left, and center to the left, and center, and to the left, and center. Now drop your arms down. This is a nice shoulder move, just to activate those muscles in your shoulder blades, up and down. Then float your arms down. Take a moment just to move in whatever way you might wish to move. However, and now reaching up, grasp your right hand in your right wrist in your left hand. Inhale and stretch out towards the left. Holding here, reaching from the base of your hip out through your fingertips. And inhale back to center. Switch hands. Right grasps your left wrist. Inhaling, reaching up. And tilt to the right. Out, feeling the breath in your left rib cage, reaching out through the fingertips of your left hand. And back to center. Float your arms down. Bring your hands to heart center just for a moment. We'll do the second to last move, grasping your hands at the back of your waist. And then take a deep breath in and lengthen your arms, lifting your chest up, allowing your head to lift, and hands back to your waist. Drop your chin to your chest. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, straighten those elbows. And release down. And inhale one more time, lifting up, head lifts. And back to your waist, chin drops. Float the arms up. Allow your hands to come just above your knees. Now we'll be taking a forward bend. So allow gravity to come and drop your head. Allow your torso to drop down, hinging at the hips. And then allow your back to drop down, lengthening your spine, dropping down. And with a deep inhale, exhale with a sigh. Oh. Inhaling. Last time, inhale. And then bring your hands back above your knees. Press on your feet, lifting up. Bring your hands to heart center and raise your arms to expand out to the sky, out to the room, and out to the earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Emily. And just invite you to come back to a sitting posture. Come together for the final meditation, taking some moments to settle. Just feel how your body feels now after that, the stretches and the movement. Maybe you're aware of parts of the body that you weren't so conscious of before. Just notice that. Notice any pleasant feelings that are here. And just letting yourself arrive and settle again in the seated posture, or lying down if you'd prefer that. Letting your attention drop down into the body. Feeling your body in contact with the surface beneath you. Letting the eyes gently close. Feel how your breathing is right now. Maybe the heart's beating a little faster. Might be still catching up with your breath. Just notice how it is for you right now. If it's helpful, you might take a couple of longer, deeper breaths. Relaxing and settling on the out breath. And remembering the smile, that we can come back to the smile. And the smile sends a message to our brain and to our nervous system that we can be at ease, that we can let down our guard if we're in a vigilant mode. Just relax. Relaxing into being here now. And inviting a receptive awareness of whatever you're experiencing right now. Meeting what's here with friendliness, with kindness, with acceptance, without judgment. And if judgment comes up, I'm not doing it well or I'm not doing it right, just invite yourself to meet that judgment with kindness. Invite the arising of kindness to hold the judgment. So we don't need to get rid of the judgment or repress it. Just to be aware of it and hold it with kindness. Oh, judging mind. You could think of it as a part of yourself, perhaps an old voice within yourself that's I'm trying to take care of you. Trying to help you be the best you can be, but may not be wise, may not be helpful anymore. So that we can bow to that and just let it go. If it's helpful, we could replace it with compassion towards ourselves. Just a simple wish, may I be happy. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am. So a kind, receptive awareness, whatever is present right now. And the image or the metaphor that Rumi uses can be helpful to us of welcoming the guests. Whatever is coming up can be treated like a guest. guest coming to our home, our guest house. And the invitation is to meet whatever guests arrive with a welcoming attitude. They may not all be pleasant. Some may be rowdy and loud, and others may be much more calm and peaceful. And we tend to be more accepting of the calm or joyful or happy ones, and more want to push away the ones we don't like. The invitation is to see if, can I say yes to whatever comes, whatever's here. Can I bring a genuine acceptance to my experience as it is? Radical, deep-rooted acceptance. So we're not bargaining with it. Oh, I'll accept it if it goes away in 5 minutes. We're actually inviting, not knowing how long it'll be here, and welcoming it just as it is. And our breathing can be a support for our practice. Just bringing a kind attention to the experience of the body breathing. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. Just meeting the breath, bringing awareness to the breath as it is. If it's helpful, focusing where you're most aware of your breathing or most comfortable with it. Maybe the chest or the belly or the nostrils. Resting the attention there. In breath and out breath. And see what happens when you really conscientiously stay with your breathing. Really kind of diligent about staying with the sensations of the breathing. And to do it in a relaxed way, not a tight way, because that just creates an energy that isn't helpful to us, but a relaxed way of being aware of the breathing. Some people find it helpful to count the breaths just in a light way. 1 for the in-breath and out-breath, 2 for the next in-breath and out-breath. And just staying with the breath, the rhythm of the breath, counting, reaching 10, and then just beginning again with 1, continuing. And this can be a way of gathering the attention, just helping us really settle and arrive. So we're less kind of bouncing around from branch to branch, as it were. So whatever's arising, see if you can hold it with kindness, with acceptance. When you notice that your mind has moved into thinking, see if you can just gently and kindly incline the mind back to the body, to the breath, to this moment. Not making thinking into a problem in any way. Just noticing, thinking, planning, remembering. Gently coming back again. This is from the great Thai teacher Ajahn Chah. Who is bothering whom? In our practice, we think that noises, cars, voices, sights are distractions that come and bother us when we want to be quiet. But who is bothering whom? Actually, we're the ones who go out and bother them. The car, the sound is just following its own nature. We bother things through some false idea that they're outside us and cling to the ideal of remaining quiet, undisturbed. Learn to see that it's not things that bother us, that we go out to bother them. See the world as a mirror. It's all a reflection of mind. When you know this, you can grow in every moment, and every experience reveals truth and brings understanding. Remembering that we can always begin again. In meditation, however long we've been off for or caught up in things, been lost in thought, lost in emotions, we can just, when we recognize that, we're back, we're home, we're here, we can begin again in any moment. want to finish with a poem on a more light-hearted note by John Breen called Wanting, Not Wanting. I wish I didn't want things to be other than they are. But wanting to be someone who doesn't want things to be other than they are is just another way of wanting things to be other than they are. And I don't want that. And this short poem on turning 64. The slowing down is speeding up. That's it.